No presumption there at all.
Hands up. All right, I call this meeting of the Champaign County Board to order. It is Thursday, November 20th, 2008. The time is 7:05. Roll call, please.
Beckett.
Here.
Benzel.
Here.
Betts. Here. Carter. Cowart. Denitz.
Here.
Gladney.
Present.
Gross.
Here.
Hunt.
Here.
James.
Here.
Jay.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
Knott.
Here.
Kurtz.
Here.
Langenheim.
Here.
McGinty.
Here.
Moser. Nudo.
Here.
O'Connor.
Here.
Putman.
Here.
Richards.
Here.
Sapp.
Here.
Schrader.
Here.
Wysocki.
Here.
Ammons. Anderson.
Here.
Weibel.
Here. We have a quorum. Ms. Gross, I believe you have the prayer for this evening?
I do. This is a prayer by Reverend Rebecca Edmiston Lange, and it was originally written for an interfaith dialogue, but I think it fits very nicely this evening. So please join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation. God of all peoples, Spirit of life and love, be in our hearts and minds this hour. Bless this gathering and this place. Help us tonight to speak to one another as we would be spoken to, with truthfulness and kindly regard. Help us to hear one another, to respect our differences as an aid to mutual understanding. Help us to acknowledge our limited vision, that together our grasp of truth is much greater than when alone. May we find here greater clarity of mind and purpose, strengthened commitment and courage, and a deeper appreciation of our diversity. Find that renewal of the spirit which comes when people of good faith, reason, and passion dialogue together. Spirit of life and love, be in our hearts and inform our minds and deeds this hour, and in the day. Blessed be.
Thank you. Pledge of Allegiance.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would the clerk read the notice of the meeting, please?
Notice is hereby given that a regular meeting of the County Board, Champaign County, Illinois, will convene on November 20, 2008, at 7 o'clock p.m. in the Lyle Shields Meeting Room, Brookings Administrative Center, 1776 East Washington Street, Urbana, Illinois, in said county for the purpose of allowing and ordering payments of claims against the county, receiving and acting upon reports of committees, and such other matters as may be brought before said meeting shall continue in session from day to day until the completion of business.
Move approval of the reading of the notice.
Moved by Betts, second by Ms. Cowart. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Seek approval of the minutes of the Truth and Taxation Public Hearing minutes of October 21st, 2008, and the County Board meeting minutes of October 21st, 2008.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Betts, second by Ms. Wysocki. Discussion. Mr. Kurtz.
Yes.
Use your microphone. Yeah, thank you.
I was omitted from the roll call last month and was present, and I would like a motion to have my name entered in the roll call for last month, please.
Correction will be noted. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Seek approval of the agenda and the addendum. Moved by Ms. Cowart.
Second.
Second by Mr. Betts. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The date and time of the organizational meeting is Monday, December 1st, 2008 at 7 p.m. in this room. The date and time of the next regular meeting is on Thursday, December 18th, 2008 at 7 p.m. also in this room. Public participation. Bill McGrath.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is William McGrath, I'm here to speak about Jennifer Putman, a colleague of mine. When Jenny first ran for county board and was first elected, I was at that time married to your distinguished parliamentarian, Susan McGrath. And tonight I'm here because Susan and our friend Dr. John Peterson and my wife, Dr. Nicole Roberts, have asked me to say a few words about Jenny. 31 years ago, when Jenny picked up her petitions to run for county board, things were a little different. Back then, we didn't have cell phones, the internet, text messages, email, scanners, or laptops. Now, the board got its information by paper and by talking to people. It was also a time in our history when, only a few years before that, we had stopped having a board of supervisors, which was comprised of all of the township supervisors in the county. Basically, it was the beginning of a new era in county government. And when Jenny first ran, I never asked her why she ran for county board, but I think I know some of her reasons. I think Jenny wanted to be a voice for the nursing home employees who struggled to do their jobs and raise their families. Jenny knew that as an employer, the county shared a responsibility with these employees to provide fair wages and proper work conditions. It was Jenny's vision that continued to understand employee relations that led her to fight diligently for a county personnel policy to protect all of the county's workers, and eventually to the county's domestic partner benefits law. I think Jenny also ran for county board because she wanted to make sure that our county's farmland was protected from uncontrolled urban growth. Jenny's educational background is urban planning, and so she knew that the tensions between growth and preservation needed to be balanced. And that's why over the years, Jenny has led the fight for a countywide comprehensive land use plans and environmental policy issues to ensure that our future generations can enjoy our agricultural heritage. I also know that Jenny was concerned in 1978 that our county board meetings were hard for working people to attend, as they met at 9 a.m., and public participation, when it was held at the end of the meetings. Now, of course, the meetings are televised, they're at night, and we have institutionalized public participation, like tonight. Jenny was also instrumental in publicizing vacancies in outside boards and commissions which the county board appointed, long before the county made that an official policy. And she also wanted to make sure that candidates were vetted by having their positions known and having them submit resumes of their qualifications. I think also most importantly, Jenny ran for board because she was deeply concerned about our criminal justice system. Jenny intuitively knew that a person in jail waiting trial was innocent, and that that person's incarceration, therefore, should be as humane as possible. It was Jenny's leadership and work with the sheriff, who was here earlier tonight, and other courthouse personnel to reduce the number of pretrial detainees, and that has led to many innovative and creative alternatives, which now ensures safety for our community and dignity for our detainees. And so with all those ideas and ideals, it's no wonder, Jenny, that tonight your service has culminated in the dedication of Meeting Room 2 as the Jennifer Putman Meeting Room. It is very well deserved, and I appreciate your hard work. So on behalf of Susan and John and Nicole, I want to wish you a great best luck in the future, and we thank you for your work on the board and for the county. Thank you, Jenny.
Sarah McCauley.
Hi, I'm Tara McCauley. I work for AFSCME. I'm the staff representative with Local 900, which represents Champaign County employees. And I'd like to actually piggyback on what he said. I wasn't coming to talk about Jenny, but I know that the union has appreciated Jenny over the years, and we're sorry to see you go. And thank you for all your years. But the reason I came was actually to talk about the nursing home. I am aware that on the agenda tonight, the board will be voting on maintaining the administrator of the nursing home, Andrew Buffenbarger, and because the union employees at the nursing home feel strongly about this subject, I felt compelled to come and speak against Resolution 6816. The nursing home employees were opposed to the county's contract with Management Performance Associates. I think you're aware of that. It's the private company running the nursing home. And, our experience since MPA has been running the nursing home is we don't see them. So we were opposed to it at the time, and we still don't think it was a wise use of taxpayer money. We're equally opposed to maintaining the same administrator that got the nursing home, at least partially, is responsible for the financial situation of the nursing home right now. And, from the employee perspective, we're, of course, concerned about the survival of the nursing home. We want to see the nursing home survive, and we also are concerned with morale and respect and the treatment of employees there. So the union, you all probably know, represents employees all over Champaign County. We represent Head Start, the courthouse, Brookins, and the number of grievances we have at the nursing home are much higher than combining all the other units. We have constant issues at the nursing home, and I'm guessing you understand that grievances are a sign of dissatisfaction and bad treatment. The other thing to point out is that the turnover rate at the nursing home is higher than any other county unit. Again, turnover is a sign of bad employee morale, bad treatment, issues at work. We just want it on record that we encourage you to vote no tonight to maintain the current administrator. We think the nursing home needs new leadership, and we think that although, often the short staffing at the nursing home is blamed on the nursing shortage. We are here to tell you it's more than the nursing shortage. There's a bigger problem there, and we think that labor management relations are poor, and we think it needs new leadership. The employees of the nursing home are very dedicated to the residents, and the lack of good morale, it makes it difficult for them to do their job. They're short-staffed, they don't feel respected, and yet they still come to work because they care about the residents, but I can tell you it makes it hard for them. So we think that the county maintaining this administrator really does put the future of the nursing home in jeopardy. So we hope you're really thinking carefully about your vote tonight. So please, we encourage you to vote against Resolution 6816.
Pam, Jane?
Hello, I'm Pam Jane. I'm a staff nurse at Champaign County Nursing Home, and I'm also the chapter chair of AFSCME Local 900C. In what Tara was saying, the morale at the nursing home is just as bad, if not worse, than it was last time I spoke with you. We're getting more admissions every day, which is a good thing, and our census is way up. And I hear everyone saying, oh, Andrew's doing a wonderful job with this. And honestly, he is doing a wonderful job getting patients to come into the nursing home. But about a year or a year and a half ago, it was his idea to have the nursing home converted to all single rooms to where everyone would have a private room. Now, it was his idea to begin with to have the private rooms, and now you're saying admit people. That only makes sense that if you want to make money or maintain this nice nursing home we have, that you admit patients. So, while he's getting the pat on the back, I just hope you keep that in mind. And also when we had the layoffs in July, they said it really didn't affect nursing at all, which in fact it had affected nursing before that. There are nurses that used to hold the job of doing the paperwork, the MDS as they call them. That's one way we get paid by the state. And those nurses weren't replaced when they left their positions. So now the staff nurses are doing that paperwork along with resident care, which takes away from the resident care. And I would just hope that everybody in this room would realize that, we're all getting older, and someday you may, with the economy the way it is, you may need to be in a nursing home yourself, and we would like to see it kept in the county hands. And we just don't know that under the leadership that will happen. So please consider your vote.
Patricia Avery. And for the speaker, I'd like someone to suspend the rules so that Ms. Putnam could participate with Ms. Avery. So moved by Ms. Gross, second by Mr. Betts. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Good evening, all of you. It's good to see you all. Before I start with my comments, just listening to the last two speakers, I just would encourage you all to do the right thing. This is a reoccurring situation with the nursing home, and it just saddens me to keep hearing it over and over again. But I'm here for a more happier occasion. I want to thank Chair Weibel, and congratulations to you on your victory. It's my honor to stand before this body this evening to join in the celebration to pay homage to my friend and what we like to call each other my sister, former colleague, and one of the longest sitting board members to serve this county, Jennifer Putnam. I think it's such an admirable thing for the county board to pay tribute to Jennifer by dedicating Meeting Room 2 in her honor. And as a matter of fact, in my current role, I have many occasions where I meet with other community-based organizations and other county departments in what will be known as the Jennifer Putnam Meeting Room. I really like that. It is befitting for us to be in this room, which was once Meeting Room 1. It has since been renamed the Lyle Shields Meeting Room because Mr. Shields served this county well for over 40 years, and it is for sure that Jennifer Putnam deserves this recognition because she has served this county admirably as well for 30 years. And she has done so with the highest of integrity and commitment to her constituents as well as to the employees of the county. Speaking of her commitment to the county employees, Jennifer was the former chair of the Personnel Committee. And I don't know, Jennifer, if you ever miss one employee recognition since its inception. Who said we can't be bipartisan? The county board will now have a Republican room and a Democratic room. I guess it is befitting in this case that the Republicans has the larger room. All jokes aside, though, Jennifer has dedicated a lot of her life to this county, and she has demonstrated her loyalty in many ways. Sadly, the county board is losing one of its historians. Jennifer has an unbelievable and uncanny ability to recall issues and events. Just the other day at the Democratic caucus, Jennifer called attention. Mind you, she had article in hand to she brought notice to an event that was quoted in a newspaper that happened back in 1992. Psychic, I know. It just blows my mind. But if you have a need to know, you need to know Jenny. Unlike Jenny, I don't archive events that can be summoned up on demand. However, there is one incident that stands out in my mind, and that is Jennifer would occasionally visit her dad in Hawaii. She always looked forward to those trips. And like Jenny, always thinking of others, she would send me the most interesting things. Like this one, I brought this postcard that Jenny sent me. And I always appreciated getting those things. And I say, thank you, Jenny. Anyway, I believe it was her trip in 2001 to Hawaii. Shortly after her return from that visit with her father, Jennifer got off the plane and a few days later was rushed by ambulance to Chicago to undergo a serious medical procedure. It wasn't long after her surgery, while still in rehab, that Jennifer showed up at a meeting assisted by a walker to cast her vote for the first budget under Democratic majority. Although as chair I didn't expect her to be at this meeting after that terrifying ordeal, but she was there. And even though we were all concerned, we had Jan Anderson and Teresa, we had 2 nurses on our side, she was there. And I would say that's real commitment. And although that vote was for the Democratic first budget, Jennifer is known for reaching across the aisle to work with her Republican colleagues. It is with that same passion that Jennifer approaches every issue to reach consensus. I've met Mr. Smucker, Jenny's replacement, and I believe he will make a good board member. But I have to say, he's going to have to sit through at least 1,080 meetings before he can fill that void that will be left behind. Jenny's support on the board and out in the community is commendable. In October, Jenny and I participated in a unity march for poverty. That is just one of the many issues and events in the community that Jennifer is involved in. Jennifer has great empathy and respect for those citizens who are underserved and underprivileged in our county. She also has tremendous support for the youth of our community. It was Jennifer who took the initiative to have the board pass a resolution honoring our former esteemed employee and delinquency prevention specialist, Marilyn Garman Starks. Marilyn's legacy, by the way, is known for her advocacy on behalf of youth and families from low-income communities. And as the director of that youth serving agency, whose aim is to reduce juvenile delinquency, I am very proud to present Jennifer Putman this evening with a plaque for her outstanding service to community, for her work as a member on Justice and Social Services, and for her support of the Quarter Cent for juvenile justice initiatives in Champaign County. And here to help me present this award is our youth board member, Darian Bannister. Thank you, Darian. We don't only serve the youth, we put them on our board. He's my boss. Jim.
Well, yes, I'm the youth board member. I am Darian Bannister, for those of you that don't know me, but there's not very few of you that don't. And this says, Champaign-Urbana Area Project Outstanding Service to Community Award presented to Jennifer Putman in recognition of your support and leadership of juvenile justice initiatives in Champaign County and your commitment to juvenile delinquency prevention and efforts to keep our youth at home, in school, and out of trouble. Given this 20th day of November 2008, congratulations.
Thank you. So good.
Podium to the public.
And you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Weigel.
Thank you. Is there further public participation? See none, we'll go on to announcements. So I have a couple announcements. One is that the third meeting of the Champaign County Transit Partnership Group is meeting tomorrow morning at the Illinois Terminal Building, 4th floor, from 9 o'clock to 10:30 a.m. My other announcement is that I need some information from the 2 people who submitted names for the MLK Awards. Please send me more information than just their names, so that the subcommittee could meet and make a decision on these, so that we can get this stuff ready in time for the MLK celebration in January. It's not that hard of a task, Mr. Betts. Any other announcements? Ms. Gross.
I'd like to thank the Farm Bureau, and I know some of you are going, what? She's a Democrat. She's thanking the Farm Bureau. Yes, she is. Last week, a number of members of this board received the Farm Bureau's Friend of Agriculture Award. I happen to have been one of them. And So I would like to thank the Farm Bureau for those awards and also for the wonderful tour that they provided for a number of us. We got to visit the Prairie Fruits, which is a farm north of Urbana, which is a goat farm, and see how they make cheese, and had a wonderful lunch. And then we went out with Mr. Lynn Warfel, rode his combine and got a little picture of the large grain type operations that go on in this county, and a tour of the elevator. And I was just amazed at the quantity of grain that is being in the Sodoris elevator, and it was all over the county. It's just an incredible sight to see that corn and soybeans coming through there. So I'd just like to say thank you to the Farm Bureau.
Any other announcements? See none. Let's move on to the consent agenda. Are there any items that people wish to pull off the agenda? Ms. Wysocki.
I would like to pull off item 3 from the Environment and Land Use.
Item 3 from Environment and Land Use. Mr. Benzel.
Finance, item 15.
Mr. Knott.
Finance, 13 and 14.
Any others? Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Moved by Mr. Richards, second by Mr. Kurtz. Roll call.
Beckett?
Yes.
Benzel?
Yes.
Betts?
Yes.
Cowart?
Yes.
Dennett?
Yes.
Gladney?
Yes.
Gross?
Yes.
Hunt?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Knott?
Yes.
Kurtz?
Yes.
Langenheim? McGinty?
Yes.
Moser? Nudo?
Yes.
O'Connor?
Yes.
Putman? Richards?
Yes.
Sapp? Schrader?
Yes.
Wysocki?
Yes.
Ammons?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Weibel?
Yes, motion carries. Committee reports. Justice and Social Services. Ms. Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Justice and Social Services had all of their action items on the consent agenda, and I don't believe there's anything else.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. County Facilities. Mr. Beckett.
I'd like to defer to Mr. Betts for the first item on facilities.
Mr. Chairman, may I?
Please do, Mr. Betts.
I move resolution number 6813, a resolution designating Meeting Room 2 as Jennifer K. Putman Meeting Room. Whereas Jennifer K. Putman was sworn in as a Champaign County Board member in 1978, and whereas Jennifer K. Putman admirably served the citizens of Champaign County with her full commitment to her responsibilities as a representative of the County Board District 8, to work in partnership with fellow County Board members and officials of Champaign County, and with her full commitment, service, and dedication to the best interests of all people of Champaign County until November 30th, 2008. And whereas the County Board of Champaign County seeks to permanently and publicly recognize the commitment and dedication of Jennifer K. Putman, who diligently served the citizens of Champaign County as an elected official over a term of 3 decades, now therefore be it resolved by the County Board of Champaign County that the County Board Meeting Room 2, located in the Brookins Administrative Center, 1776 East Washington, Urbana, Illinois, be named the Jennifer K. Putman Meeting Room in recognition of the exemplary selflessness in service provided over an historic term of office by this esteemed official, Jennifer K. Putman, and I so move.
Is there a second? Second by Ms. Ammons. Discussion? Ms. Gross.
I would just like to say that, Jennifer, in my 4 years on the board, I've come to recognize you as the conscience of this board. You are the person who always reminds us to do what is right, not what is expedient, not what is profitable, not what serves the status quo. Everything from the living wage ordinance, to dignity for those people detained in our corrections facilities, to caring for the nursing home. Jennifer, you are the most caring person that I've ever met, and the most positive, or certainly one of the most positive people I've ever met. And I really value my time on the board as the opportunity to serve with you. Thank you so much.
Siemens.
I wanted to say that I have not had a lot of time working with Ms. Putnam on this board, but I have had a lot of time working with her off the board. She has been very dedicated to broader issues in our community, and not just from the county board perspective. This October, we had an opportunity to organize, as we do annually, a unity march that encompasses many social justice issues. And Mrs. Putnam decided to join us that Saturday morning, October 7th. And instead of allowing me to arrange transportation for the 2-mile walk, she decided that she would walk the entire way to show a sign of solidarity for people who experience extreme poverty in Champaign Township. And she did exactly that. She walked the entire 2 miles. And we were inspired to continue to work and continue to fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. And so if anything I get from Ms. Putnam prior to her sending me information, educating me on issues even before I was on this board, I know her, I think, in a little different way than some may know her. And so I really appreciate your leadership that you've given to me, and the infusing in my spirit the desire to serve the less fortunate outside of this building as well as inside. So I really appreciate your service, and thank you.
Ms. Mosier.
I want to thank Jenny and Tom Betts both for the work they did getting that quarter-cent public safety sales tax passed. That, to me, was one of the most important things that's happened in the 16 years I've been on this board. It was one time the two parties worked together to get something passed that we had to pass to fix a courthouse and a whole lot of other buildings that have resulted from that. And I'll always think that was a highlight of 16 years of working with you, Jenny.
Ms. Anderson.
Yes, I would like to say that it's been a joy working with Jenny on the Justice Committee. As Claudia says, Jenny brings the consciousness of many issues and does the background to get some information together to share with us, and makes the contacts that are necessary. And she's going to be greatly missed on that committee.
Mr. Langenheim. Microphone, please.
That quarterdeck voice isn't enough in here. Jennifer, during my time on this board, I have seen you serve as the conscience of the board. I've also seen you serve in many contentious controversies without ever backbiting, undermining, or becoming aggressive in your presentation of your point of view. Also, I have never seen you back down from any point that you held on grounds of idealism. You've been an exemplary companion and an example to us all.
Mr. Gladney.
Yes, I've only had the good fortune to be with Jenny on the board for 2 years, but I just wanted to say what a great honor it's been to serve with you. And I greatly respect your indomitable spirit, and your kind heart, and your great conscience, and the institutional memory that is second to none. And thank you for being a great board member and a great mentor and just a great human being.
Ms. Court.
Yes, I'd like to thank Jenny for the help that she gave me when I came up on the board. I remember when it was just, I think, about 4 of us ladies that sat back in the back, and I was real green. I didn't know anything. and Jenny led me along. I've been knowing Jenny for, I guess, 30-some years, but I really got to know something about her once we got on the board together. I want to thank you, Jenny.
Mr. O'Connor?
I just had to put Jenny very, very high on the sincerity scale. She believes everything she says, and she doesn't say it if she doesn't believe it herself. She doesn't double talk people. That's sometimes a rare commodity nowadays.
Ms. Putnam?
Well, I think I better say something here. Susan, actually, I think you have a stronger institutional memory than I. But I would like to say to the Facilities Committee and to whomever was the moving force to rename Meeting Room 2, when I saw that agenda, that lavender Facilities Committee agenda, I love that lavender cover, I took it to my husband. I said, honey, look at this. Look at, this is big. But that was after I sat in my room and just I said to Bruce, then I said, what if it doesn't pass unanimously? I didn't think it would die for lack of a second, but you know, there could be not 27 votes for it. But the other thing, I mentioned this to Patrick Fingston the other night, what it really made me think of was the night 30 years ago when I called my mother to tell her that I had been elected. My mom was a lawyer and dean of a medical school. My dad has a PhD, my brother is academically achieved, and I, after 10 years after graduating from high school, I finally did get a bachelor's degree, but I haven't been any kind of academic superstar or other achiever. But I got elected to the county board, and I called my mother, and she just said, honey, oh, I am so proud of you. That's wonderful. And she didn't say one of 27 county board members. No, it's just, honey, nobody in our family has ever done that. I am just so proud of you. And for anyone in my family to think that a room in a public facility would have our family name, they would just say that, what an honor. I am deeply, deeply, deeply grateful. Another thing I wanted to say, generally, I applaud the naming of public facilities for the people whose personalities and passions and pursuits have been imprinted. I applaud the naming of our county building for Norris Brookins, and it reminds me of his wife Ruth, the city clerk of Urbana. I applaud naming Lyle's room, and I love his photo there. Kind of whimsical, kind of almost a smile there, looking down. I applaud naming Art Bartell Road for Arthur Bartell. I applaud naming the satellite jail for Paul Lawrence Pope, and I hope we can get more into remembering that long-serving African-American member of the sheriff's staff. I applaud naming the RPC meeting room for John Dimmitt. And Tom, I want to thank you for thinking to put the nameplates on the folks who've been honored with the Doris Hoskins and the James Burgess Awards, awards that we named for real people whose passions have left their personality on this place. But I never thought that a room here would be named for a Democrat. I was so excited. Of course, I had to
lose that unanimous vote now.
I had to call Stan Summers, the county board member who was the representative from District 8 before Susan and I were elected, and I phoned Barbara Anderson, who survives her husband James. Jim Anderson also represented this district. I called Lyle and Lois and told Lyle that I was joining his elite club. And, well, actually, I didn't get a chance to talk to Lyle because he's doing farm work. He was disking and driving a auger wagon. driving an auger wagon today. That was yesterday he was doing that. And then I called back today, and he was out doing that again. And I am so glad he's out doing that work, 85 years old and actively farming. And it's just a wonderful honor to be in that club with Lyle Shields and John Dimmitt and Art Bartell and Norris Brookins. And I couldn't thank you more for the honor.
Further discussion? Mr. Kurtz.
I just want to say that I'm really sorry that I'm not going to be able to learn from Jenny being on the board as a new member. I think I could have picked up an awful lot of good pointers. So I'm one of the few that are sorry that she's leaving. Well, no, let me repeat that again. I'm one of the many. I'm one of the many. Please insert many. Thank you.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Jenny, I think it was unanimous. Mr. Beckett.
My mother would be proud.
Well, I know that Jenny will still hang around here because she sent an email to several of us that she's going to come and put captions on all of the photographs in this room to identify all of the county board members over the years. She may need some help, but I think that's terrific. From the addendum, item 2, adoption of resolution number 6820, award of contract based on RFP 2008-005, metal exterior wall replacement to Ressler Construction in the amount of $106,970, and I so move.
For a second? Second by Mr. Benzel. Discussion. Mr. Beckett.
This came directly to the board. The Facilities Committee has been working on this project for some time. We had some roofing work that had to be done, and this is within the $110,000 that was allocated by the committee for the exterior walls insulation and other matters. And rather than defer it to a business meeting in December, there wouldn't be a Facilities Committee meeting. I opted to bring it straight to the board tonight.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Beckett. Policy personnel appointments, Mr. Betts.
Thank you. I move adoption of Resolution 6788, appointing Catherine Capel to the Champaign County Zoning Board of Appeals. I so move.
Second by Mr. Mosier. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Move adoption of Resolution 6789, appointing Thomas Corson to the Champaign County Zoning Board of Appeals. So moved.
Second by Mr. Mosier. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I move the adoption of Resolution 6814, recognizing the service of Champaign County Board Member Claudia Gross, and if the Chair would indulge me, I would like to address the body.
Maybe we have a second first, or do you want to? Second by Ms. Anderson. Go ahead, Mr. Betts.
I don't want Claudia to get all killed out this evening. She's been a board member too. 4 years, you can accomplish a great deal, Claudia. This is in recognition of Claudia Gross. Whereas Claudia Gross was sworn in as Champaign County Board member on December 5th, 2004, and whereas Claudia Gross served the citizens of Champaign County as a representative of the Champaign County Board in District 6 until December 1st, 2008, and whereas Claudia Gross further served the citizens of Champaign County as a member of the Finance Committee and Policy, Personnel, and Appointments Committee through thoughtful participation and conscientious effort, and whereas Claudia Gross has supported financial transparency and fiscal responsibility, now therefore be it resolved that the Champaign County, the County Board of Champaign County hereby recognizes the service of Claudia Gross, and that County Board of Champaign extends its appreciation to Claudia Gross for her public services and wishes her much success in her endeavors. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be sent to Claudia Gross in recognition of her service to the Champaign citizens.
Discussion. Mr. Gladney.
I just want to say what a pleasure it's been serving with Claudia as a fellow District 6 seatmate the last 2 years. And, you know, a word she put forward about Jenny Putman earlier tonight was conscience. And I actually have very much respected Claudia's conscience, and she's not afraid to be outspoken. And I respect that greatly, and thank you for your service, Claudia.
Betts.
I would also like to speak to the motion, something that is not in that motion, but something that I greatly admire about Claudia, and that is that she has guts, a lot of guts. She will tell you she disagrees with you, and she will tell you why. She's done it to me, and I appreciate people who are willing to say, I disagree with you, this is why I disagree with you, and this is a better way of solving the problem. She commands people to listen to her, and she pushes for ideas, and her ideas are important. I think she's made a tremendous difference as a member of this board. I so respect this woman because she is willing. Quite a few times I noticed to be the only person on the board voting no on issues. And I think that's fine. I used to have that record about 8 or 9 years ago. But I like people that are absolutely willing to say, you know, it might be 26-1, but sometimes that one person in an act of conscience might have the right idea. And I think that's what I'm really going to miss in you, Claudia. But I expect we'll see each other out in the community anyway. Thank you for your service.
Further discussion. Mr. Richards.
I'd just like to follow Mr. Gladney in saying it's been an extreme pleasure serving with Claudia these last 2 years, and even more of a pleasure sitting next to her. She has an incredible policy depth and has really taken in stride being my mentor. Usually about 10 times a meeting, she'll whisper something in my ear that I had no idea about, something to do with some policy we're doing, lobby me right here. She's been a great addition for me these last 2 years, and she has served the citizens of District 6 in the city of Champaign very well.
Is there other discussion? Ms. Gross.
I would just like to say thank you to all of you who have put up with my eccentricities, and I apologize to those of you I've annoyed, which I'm sure encompasses most of you at some time or another. And I really wanted to thank you all for the service that you give to Champaign County. And I'll be around here. I'm not moving anywhere. And I'm looking forward to being able to go to northern Minnesota for the whole summer and not run back and forth. But thank you very much, and thank you all for your kind words.
Final discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Betts.
And the next resolution is Resolution 6815. I move the adoption of the resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Beckett. Any more discussion on Ms. Putnam?
Mr. Chairman, may I address and read the resolution?
Please do.
Yeah. That's okay.
This is a resolution honoring my dear friend and neighbor, Jennifer Putnam. Whereas Jennifer K. Putnam was sworn in as a Champaign County Board member in December 1978, whereas Jennifer K. Putnam has served the citizens of Champaign County with her full commitment to her responsibilities as a representative of Champaign County Board District 8, and whereas in Jennifer K. Putnam's 30 years of distinguished service, she has worked as an advocate and spokesperson for individual rights and interests, which were often otherwise underrepresented as issues not traditionally included in the governmental process, and through her diligence, effort, and willingness to stand alone, Jennifer Putnam often acted as the conscience of the county board. And whereas in Jennifer K. Putman's 30 years of a distinguished service, she has always served on the standing committee responsible for personnel management and has engaged in the implementation of best practices in personnel management for the benefit of the county's workforce of nearly 1,000 employees. And whereas Jennifer K. Putman has served on the county board when her party was of minority status, oh, do I remember those days, and majority status, and has always endeavored to place the interests of the citizens of Champaign County as the highest priority above the interest of partisan politics. And whereas Jennifer K. Putman has given generously of her time and talent for 30 years as a legislator at the local government level, as one of the persons who form the backbone of our local government, volunteering her services to make local government work for our citizens and our community. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the County Board of Champaign County, Illinois, that the County Board hereby recognizes and honors the long and distinguished service of Jennifer K. Putman with the Champaign County Board, and be it further resolved that the County Board, on behalf of the citizens of Champaign County, notes with pride and gratitude the many accomplishments and excellent service that Jennifer K. Putman has provided over her term of office as a County Board member for 3 decades.
Discussion. Ms. Putnam.
I've had something like this experience before. It's late November. It's a year divisible by 2. I'm in a county board meeting. In the Lyle Shields meeting room, or maybe I'm sitting in what we used to call the annex. Remember, west of Bennett Street? Do you remember Bennett Street with the coin-op laundry and traffic court with the people flowing out onto the street? Or maybe I'm having I'm sitting in the meeting room at 1905 East Main, where we used to meet on Thursday mornings, sitting in captain's chairs that we pulled up around long tables in a U formation. It seems once every 2 years we say goodbye to 1 or 2 or 3 colleagues who will be leaving, and we remember their unique humor or insight. Sometimes they're very strange syntax. Their wonderful common sense or sense of righteous indignation that certain members could always be counted on. If it was Eleanor Schooley, we would remember her cinnamon rolls. If it was A. Rayburn, we might mention how he liked to cite the legal statutes. And some of us, like Tom Betts, are so eloquent in their appreciation that folks can barely hold back. I'm through this 14 times, to be exact, but of course, tonight is different. And something else that's different tonight, only 2 people are leaving, and we're both Democrats. 2 years from now, I want my Republican colleagues to know if one of you should be departing, you're going to hear your Democratic colleagues saying eloquent, beautiful, appreciative things about the unique. I disagree with what some folks have been saying about me, because I think one of my main has to do with the adage about being able to disagree without being disagreeable, because I know I have not always walked that talk. So if you are the county board member or the county administrator or the department head or the employee or the member of the public with whom I disagreed disagreeably, I apologize. I felt bad during that exchange, and I still do. But there may be hope. I'm lobbying to be appointed to the Citizens Advisory Committee that will be named in the new year by Judge DeFanis and by the County Board Chair. This is the committee that will explore how we can encourage more citizens of more diverse backgrounds to respond to the summons to jury duty. And if appointed, I pledge to do a better job of agreeing or disagreeing without being disagreeable.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Nothing further from policy.
Thank you, Mr. Betts. Mr. McGinty.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Finance Committee recommends adoption of Resolution Number 6793, Payment of Claims Authorization, and I so move.
Second.
Second by Mr. Betts. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Finance Committee recommends adoption of Resolution Number 6794, purchases not following purchasing policy, and I so move.
Second by Mr. Beckett. Discussion. Mr. Benzel.
Could we just get a brief description of the $122,000 bill on there?
I assume it's for the excavating for the new highway maintenance facility. I'm not sure why we got the bill so late. I cannot answer that.
It's just because it's incredibly late, is that it? I mean, that's just a big one.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Mr. Fabry.
Yeah, I asked Jeff Blue about that at the finance meeting, and apparently that was a road project, I want to say Learman, and I'm paraphrasing Jeff Blue, but basically it sat at IDOT for quite a while. They got the approval in February of this year for the project that was completed in '07. And I don't think Jeff got it from IDOT and was able to sign off on it until August of this year. So, but it's just a '07 project being paid this year.
There was a budget amendment last month, I believe, that we approved for it.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
From the addendum, item number 3, Finance Committee recommends adoption of Resolution Number 6818, an emergency budget transfer for $4,228 to move money to the physical plant budget to pay for an unexpected repair to an existing sewer pipe at 1702 East Main Street, and I so move.
Second.
Second by Mr. James. Discussion. Seeing none, roll call.
Beckett? Benzel?
Yes.
Betts?
Yes.
Coert?
Yes.
Denitz?
Yes.
Gladney?
Yes.
Gross? Hunt?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Knott?
Yes.
Kurtz?
Yes.
Langenheim?
Yes.
McGinty?
Yes.
Moser?
Yes.
Nudo?
Yes.
O'Connor?
Yes.
Putman?
Yes.
Richards?
Yes.
Sapp?
Yes.
Schrader?
Yes.
Wysocki? Ammons? Anderson?
Yes.
And Weibel.
Yes, motion carries.
Item number 4, Finance Committee recommends adoption of Resolution Number 6819, an emergency budget amendment for $5,956. Funds were received from Carl Foundation Hospital in order to purchase 4 AEDs for the Law Enforcement Division patrol units, and I so move.
Second.
Second by Mr. Sapp. Discussion. Roll call.
Beckett?
Yes.
Benzel?
Yes.
Betts?
Yes.
Coert?
Yes.
Denitz?
Yes.
Gladney?
Yes.
Gross? Hunt?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Knott?
Yes.
Kurtz?
Yes.
Langenheim?
Yes.
McGinty?
Yes.
Moser? Nudo?
Yes.
O'Connor?
Yes.
Putman?
Yes.
Richards?
Yes.
Sapp?
Yes.
Schrader?
Yes.
Wysocki?
Yes.
Ammons? Anderson?
Yes.
Weibel.
Yes, motion carries.
From the consent agenda, item number 13, Finance Committee recommends adoption of ordinance number 839, fiscal year 2009 annual budget and appropriation ordinance, and I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Betts.
Ms. Wysocki.
Okay, Ms. Wysocki apparently pulled the gun first. Ms. Wysocki gets a second. Discussion. Mr. Knott.
I guess I asked this be pulled, and maybe it's more of a symbolic no vote than anything, but I guess, with the state's economy, the nation's economy, and probably maybe what could happen here locally, I guess, what I'd like to see us do is, tighten our fiscal belt a little bit. There's probably not much we can do about it at the 11th and 59th hour of tonight, but, this is my chance to make my case. I guess what I'd like to see us do over the course of the next year is use the strategic plan we've developed to, if we need to hold back money, if our revenues don't come in the way we project them to make our priorities and use that plan that we've developed over the last year in making determinations. So I guess I just can't support the budget at this point for that reason. I guess I hope we look at those, and that's my reason for pulling it off.
Other discussion. Mr. McGinty?
It's not too often that I disagree on things like this with Mr. Knott. I certainly understand why he's saying this about incorporating the strategic plan, but we've been talking about this in detail at budget hearings, at every finance committee meeting. The budget has been well described. I've been proud of the fact that we have become quite transparent in the budget process. We make it very accessible over the web with a budget in brief now to make it quite readable. And I would always prefer in situations like this that things come up at the committee level. So that because really there are no surprises in this case, in my opinion. But I understand the symbolism at the same time. Thanks.
Mr. Mosier?
I think I've lived through 4 recessions, and I can remember the one in 1980 when the world got turned upside down on my business in a short period of time like this has. And when you got your own operation and you see how fast things can happen, and our business, our inputs have gone sky high in the last 6 months, and we've seen our commodity prices drop 50% from what they were last July. And it scares me not to look at this hard and long, because this town has been immune to effects of these things for a long time, but I've never seen in my life something go south as fast as this economy has. And it's a scary situation when my 87-year-old mother said it's got all the symptoms of what happened in the 1930s. Deb's assured me she's going to be watching this sales tax closely, and I hope that we don't go down the road too far if we have to amend this budget, because I just don't see any end to this in the short run. And I know the amount of money that a lot of people have lost in their KIOs and their SEPs and their 401ks is pretty staggering, and they're going to be looking at government at every level to take your hit if there's a hit, and I think there's going to be one, and I hope we're ready for it when it comes.
Thank you, Mr. Mosier. Mr. Langenheim.
I'm surprised to find that I'm older than my colleague's mother, but let me say that in the waning years of the Depression, I was in middle school, high school, and college, and it's absolutely true. What we're seeing is redolent of what happened then. The only difference is that at that time, it was doctrine that the government did not interfere in business at all. And we have a lot of interference or assistance coming from the government as a result of actions which were taken at that time, which were taken at other times. And I think we would do well to study that history and to realize that if it becomes necessary to revive the economy with governmental action, one of the big things that will happen will be public works. And this county board should be thinking about that, thinking about the overpasses on the railroad that we haven't been able to build, the parks that we have not been able to expand, this meeting room, which is totally unsatisfactory, and so on. We should be lining up to get our share of the public works that may come to fight this battle. And this may not be an appropriate comment for this particular debate, but it's one I've been itching to make for some time, and I've just made it.
Further discussion. Mr. Nudo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to second Steve's comments about the speed at which this downturn has occurred, particularly in sales, retailer sales. And I can assure you, Deb has had numerous conversations with Chair of Finance and myself about trying to analyze as quickly as possible what we can do. If you realize that October, November, December are the biggest months, holiday-wise, for purchases, it can have a dramatic effect on the 09 budget, and we won't get information if we go the normal route until, what, January 09, correct, Deb? So she's working on a way that we can get faster analysis of the sales, and it wouldn't do us any harm to take a look at budgets right now to be in position to make the move so we don't lose a quarter of the year before we take action.
Mr. Knott?
Well, and I do want to add, I completely agree with Brendan that his process was greatly open. I love the budget short fact sheet summary that we got. I mean, I thought he did a great job of putting it all together. Again, it's just my way of probably expressing through a vote what Mr. Langenheim and others have. And I know everybody in this room shares the fiscal concerns, so either way your vote is on this, I guess that's not personally me reflective of how you feel, because I know we're greatly concerned about our budget, and I know we'll all watch it in this coming year.
Further discussion? Roll call.
Beckett?
Yes.
Benzel?
Yes.
Betts?
Yes.
Cowart? Denitz?
Yes.
Gladney?
Yes.
Gross?
Yes.
Hunt?
No.
James?
No.
Jay?
No.
Jones?
Yes.
Knott?
No.
Kurtz?
Yes.
Langenheim?
Yes.
McGinty?
Yes.
Moser?
No.
Nudo?
No.
O'Connor?
Absolutely.
Putman?
That'd be a yes, right, O'Connor, Mr. Connor? Thank you.
Putman?
Yes.
Richards?
Yes.
Sapp?
No.
Schrader?
Yes.
Wysocki?
Yes.
Ammons?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
And Weibel?
Yes, motion carries.
Item number 14, the Finance Committee recommends adoption of ordinance number 840, fiscal year 2009 annual tax levy ordinance, and I so move.
Second.
Second by Ms. Amons. Discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Beckett?
Yes.
Benzel?
Yes.
Betts?
Yes.
Cowart?
Yes.
Denitz?
Yes.
Gladney?
Yes.
Gross?
Yes.
Hunt?
No.
James?
No.
Jay?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Knott?
Yes.
Kurtz?
Yes.
Langenheim?
Yes.
McGinty?
Yes.
Mosier?
Yes.
Nudo?
Yes.
O'Connor?
Yes.
Putman?
Yes.
Richards?
Yes.
Sapp?
Yes.
Schrader?
Yes.
Wysocki?
Yes.
Ammons?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
And Weibel?
Yes, motion carries.
Item 15, Finance Committee recommends adoption of resolution number 6806, authorizing the issuance of tax anticipation warrants of the County of Champaign, Illinois, and providing the details of such warrants and related matters, and I so move.
Second by Ms. Ammons. I'd like to point out that an updated copy should be in the pile on your desk in white. Discussion. Mr. Benzel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I asked for this to be pulled, I guess, just because it's a serious matter. It's a serious issue.
Could you use the microphone, a little closer to the microphone, please?
I'm sorry. We're essentially, by doing this, asking for an advance on next year's paycheck so that we can pay this year's bills. And it just seems peculiar to me that that would be something that we would put on a consent agenda and push through that easily. So, this board, I think, has, in my opinion, acted somewhat incrementally with the problems that have occurred at the nursing home instead of facing sometimes as a whole and dealing with them as we should have. And so I have a great deal of trouble supporting this, and so I wanted to pull it. Thank you.
Ms. Ammons?
I, too, actually spoke in our caucus about pulling this off, and he beat me to it this morning, or this evening. I'm still in the morning. Although I understand the need, of course, we have bills, right? This is what we say, we have bills to pay, and we want to protect the home. My problem, though, tonight is not necessarily with the idea itself, although I would personally never enter in such a thing. My problem is that we have a contract of 17 pages that we got tonight, 15 minutes before.
I'm sorry, there's actually a copy of this in the package. The only thing that's added is there are a couple items updated, like what
the updated items in this.
And there's very little updated, truthfully.
Right. It takes me, I would tell you, more than a week, though, to get real help with the contract. So it's very difficult to ask us to enter into a contract, as we will discuss later in another issue, for those who are not attorneys and really understand what it is that we're entering into. And so I would like for whomever drafted this or is responsible for this to really explain to us on the board as well as the public what this means in layman's terms.
Can you give it a try? Ms. Busey?
Well, this was prepared by Kurt Froelich, who acts as the county's bond counsel, and he is not here this evening, but he has assisted us with all of the bond issues that we have done over the last 12 years. He's known as an expert in this field and is sought out by many, many governmental entities throughout Illinois when they need assistance with this type of issuance. This resolution was prepared by him. It is for the issuance of tax anticipation warrants, which will be repaid from the proceeds of the property tax levy to be collected for the nursing home in fiscal year 2009 on the 2008 property taxes. I cannot explain to you every detail of this resolution, but I do have a great deal of confidence in Mr. Froelich's work and what he has done for us historically with regard to these types of issues. The reason you received it tonight is simply by virtue of the fact that the treasurer sent out requests for proposals to all the local banks, and timing-wise, we had to wait to send those out until this month. They were received back yesterday, and that's why the best proposal, we couldn't plug in the numbers into this resolution that comes to you tonight until today. Again, the timing, waiting as long as we can to hopefully get the best proposal that we could get in terms of these warrants those are some of the reasons. I can tell you that the Treasurer received 3 proposals, and this one, which is represented in the document tonight, we will be working with Commerce Bank, and the interest rate that they quoted for this issue is 3.2%, which was the best interest rate that was proposed of the 3 responses that we received.
Mr. Betts.
I guess the question I would ask is, we have our 2 liaisons, Mr. Nudo and Ms. Anderson, who are serving on the Nursing Home Board of Directors. I would like to make sure, I'm pretty sure it's true that they both recommend it, but I would like to hear from Mr. Nudo and Ms. Anderson if that is something that they have recommended.
Mr. Nudo, Mr. Anderson, do you want to?
I can't tell you which meeting, but it was discussed in our board meeting. And if we want to pay the bills, we have to have the money to do it. And I think, as Tom has expressed to us, that in other areas, aside from the nursing home, in other departments, this is a procedure that has been done numerous times. So, does that answer your question?
Mr. Nudo?
I would just add, not only was this discussed in the nursing home board, but also, if you'll recall, when Andrew came to us for the last loan, he said that the last loan would take us through the end of the year. And that's what he basically guaranteed. And so I think this is just a step. Everybody knows in this room that there will be no more loans to the nursing home by the General Revenue Fund. And Mr. Scobato's here, probably can give us a better update as to what's happening currently with our increased resident enrollment. So I think I'd leave that to him if we want to suspend the rules now, or he could speak to it later.
Betts?
All I was trying to do is make sure that both of our county board members who serve on that committee, that was in fact the recommendation of the committee, because I'm very satisfied with that recommendation, knowing full well that tax anticipation warrants have been used before. They are used by school districts on a regular basis because of the state budgets not coming in timely fashions and what have you. So it's not a particularly unusual or unique method of funding at all. But I just want to make sure that that board actually had recommended it, and I respect that they did.
Ms. Amons?
Thank you for recognizing me on the second time on this issue. I would just like to ask those who have experience with this issue, if we enter into a tax anticipation warrant this year utilizing taxes we have not received yet for next year, if we get into further recession, how does that impact Champaign County? Because the taxes that will be coming to the county normally or some portion of them, correct, would then be used in 2008. if you can explain, if you understand what I'm asking. If I spend my paycheck for next month, this month, I may not be able to pay all my bills.
And Mr. Scavato is here and maybe can speak to this as well. The nursing home is still in a difficult financial position. And the proceeds that are received now is money that would be coming into the nursing home next year. I guess we have to continue working to ensure that the nursing home can live within its revenues. And this is not an indicator that the nursing home is there yet, but it's certainly much closer than it was 6 months ago. I don't know if I've answered your question, but...
Mr. J, do you have a comment?
Yeah, I think let's don't mischaracterize this. Anticipation warrants are issued fairly regular by government entities, but it's usually because the taxes was not there. In this case, that's not the purpose. We're doing this in advance of the taxes. Champaign County historically has done a really good job of getting the tax money out to the departments that need it. In fact, we're one of the few counties that get our tax bills out on time. Tax anticipation warrants was used usually to offset the fact that there was a delay in getting the normal tax money. This isn't the case, so let's don't confuse it. I think Deb said it correctly. We're still in a very serious financial condition with the nursing home, and I think the question about what happens down the road, of course, we don't know. But we do know that if you take next year's money and use it for this year, that next year you conceivably could have even a worse problem. And I think we need to just be honest with ourselves.
Mr. Richards.
Do we have some cost certainty in this, and that we're pretty sure that costs are going to plateau and we're not going to have any decreases in revenues, so that $780,000 is going to be enough for this?
I don't think you can predict the future.
Obviously not. We're usually wrong on projections on the nursing home.
Mr. Putnam.
I totally respect those who wanted this matter removed from the consent agenda. It is important enough that we discuss it in public. I hope someone will correct me if I'm wrong in what I'm about to say. If this matter is not approved and anticipation warrants are not issued, we will not have sufficient funds to pay vendors and contractors. Interest will be added to what we owe. Vendors and contractors will be less likely to want to continue selling to us and contracting with us, and we will be in an untenable situation. Am I wrong in that?
I think everybody agrees with you. Mr. Noodle?
If anyone would like, I would move to suspend the rules to allow Mr. Scavato to give you a current status of what's happening.
Second.
Second by Mr. McGinty. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Scavato, microphone, please.
When we first started discussions about working with Champaign County, we were under the impression that tax anticipation warrants were part of the plan. We're hearing loud and clear that the tax anticipation warrants are for '09, not to be used in '08. Fortunately, we're getting close to the end of '08. Things at the nursing home, I believe, are getting better. It's not a situation that you can jump up and down about. You know, it can go south again on you. When we first started, the census was 148. Today's count was 197, with 33 in rehab. The October loss, we expect to report at 21,000, which is significantly lower than what it's been in prior months. And we closed October. Our census was probably pushing 180 to close. To get into November, where we're over, we're at 190, and getting to 200 bodes well for November. I want to hedge that a little bit
simply because of the Thanksgiving holidays. Now, the people at the nursing home tell me that you do not have the experience that many healthcare providers do, meaning that your census doesn't tank because of the Thanksgiving holiday. I would want to be skeptical, but if that is the case, we could do well in November. So I think things have turned, and we've got a couple of things to do. We've got to continue to improve our performance with Medicare. That's in process. Your revenues are coming up, and our number one task is to get cash. And we can't keep this thing going without the nursing home generating cash. There's no question in my mind we're going to need the property tax revenues for the, probably in '09. But I think that I'm hopeful that the months where you're seeing losses in the six figures are behind us. And it'd be just my luck that, the census tanks again, but I don't think that's going to happen. We've seen very positive developments with the census. We've been benefiting from improvements in the operation, and in a short period of time to be able to stand up and say we've got the October loss down to $21,000 is, I think, a sign of accomplishment. And it's been a team effort over there. It's not one person that does that. That's a team effort from everybody at the nursing home, and I would say those are good results. Now, Al, is there something that I missed? Or Jan, anything that I missed? Okay. Brendan, anything I missed?
No, I was just happy to hear the progress. It was detailed at Finance. We appreciate those reports.
Okay.
That's good news.
Yeah. I mean, October's results are very encouraging. One month doesn't make a turnaround. You still have plenty of ground to cover.
Mr. Benzel?
Thank you. I want to echo what Brendan said, Mr. Scavato. The reports are very much appreciated. They're readable for a layman such as I can understand what they say.
I can change that if you want. So
I may not know what I'm reading anyway. I just think I do. But no, those are certainly appreciated, and this isn't reflective of the work that's been done. I think that the progress that's been made has been very, very good.
Well, thank you. It's a team. It's a team over there. They're pulling together better than they have in the past. And we can see some change. We keep the census up, we're going to do okay. And with a little bit of luck, you'll feel a lot easier about those anticipation warrants. And
Mike, if I could continue, and this isn't directed to you, these are just general comments, but my concern with this isn't, as I said, with what's going on right now. I appreciate the progress that's being made. I guess my small little protest of my own is the historical latency I think this board has had in dealing with the problems over there. These have been there for many, many years, and I think we were too slow to react. I think it cost us a lot of money, and so I just have great concern over that.
Mr. McGinty?
I'd just like to address that briefly, because I agree with Ron that that is certainly what has been happening. But I think that when the main part of the problem there is being addressed directly in getting accurate financial information about what's happening there. We can only make informed decisions based on accurate numbers, and we have addressed that by bringing on MPA and getting reports whose numbers I think I and others trust. And because of that, I think that those days also are behind us, with the caveat, and I know, Mike, you like your caveats. I think that's important. With the caveat that there's still a tremendous amount of room to improve here. We're still losing money. We're still losing money in 5 figures a month. So we just have to keep that in mind. That's why we're talking about tax anticipation warrants right now.
Further discussion? Questions from Mr. Scavato on this subject? Thank you, Mr. Scavato. Further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call.
Beckett?
Yes.
Benzel?
No.
Betts?
Yes.
Coert?
No.
Denitz?
Yes.
Gladney?
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Hunt.
No.
James.
No.
Jay.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Knott.
Yes.
Kurtz.
Yes.
Langenheim.
Yes.
McGinty.
Yes.
Mosier.
Yes.
Nudo.
Yes.
O'Connor.
Yes.
Putman.
Yes.
Richards.
Yes.
Sapp.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Wysocki. Ammons.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Weibel.
Yes, motion carries.
And that's all from Finance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McGinty. Moving on to Highway and Transportation, Ms. Covert.
Highway and Transportation has nothing for the board to consider tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Covert. Environment and Land Use, Ms. Wysocki.
There's just one item that originally was on the consent agenda, and that is amending ordinance number 843, which amends ordinance number 255, which is concerned with establishing an enterprise zone. The amended version is at your desk in the goldenrod paper, and the only difference between it and what was in your packet is the removal of what was then Section 4, which simply directed the county clerk to publish this ordinance as of its effective date. This section has been removed because it is up to, in this case, the city of Champaign to make those publications rather than the county. So, with all that said, I will move the adoption of ordinance number 843, which amends ordinance 255, establishing the enterprise zone.
Second.
Second by Mr. Mosier. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
That's all.
Thank you, Ms. Wysocki. Moving on to other business. Ms. Anderson, would you move this one, please? Other business,
No, wait. I thought, is this the one with the public health?
yes.
I thought I had the one for...
No, I'm sorry, item A. Item A.
Oh. Adoption of resolution number 6779, approving the agreement between the Champaign-Urbana Public Health District, the County of Champaign, and the Champaign County Health Department for the provision of public health services by the Champaign-Urbana Public Health District to the Champaign County Health Department. I so move.
Second by Ms. Cowart. Actually, Mr. James, I should have asked you to move that since you're on the board. I apologize for that.
Do I have to abstain from that vote?
I don't believe so.
No, you don't.
I would point out that I abstain at the CUPHD vote, so just to be clear. Any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Before we move on to item B and item C, there is an opinion from the legal counsel, Mr. David Thorne, on your desk concerning the question of whether or not the board is authorized to seek Mr. Buffenbarger's dismissal as a nursing home administrator. Mr. DeThorne could not make it here tonight because of family matters. However, Ms. McGrath says she's familiar enough with it she could discuss this from the standpoint of legal counsel. So I open this matter up to the board for discussion. Mr. Richards.
So we're to believe that this contract bans us from putting out our opinion in what I assume is an advisory vote for MPA on whether or not they should keep this administrator?
I'm not really sure if that vote is advisory. My impression was that it would direct them to do that if we could do the vote, but according to legal opinion, we cannot do that. Ms. McGrath, would you agree with that statement?
Mr. Chair, the way you have structured 6816 presently is not advisory. It appears to be an action item by the board.
Correct.
Not advisory in nature.
And
that was where Mr. DeThorne's opinion was addressed to.
Point of order.
Yes.
Are we not discussing the potential dismissal of an employee in an open session?
Actually, Ms. Beth, is there anything wrong with us discussing the employer, the legal opinion?
This is simply an opinion as to whether you can take action.
Yes, whether we take action on that motion. Mr. Betts?
Before we do that, maybe we should, normally legal opinions are confidential as to the board. I think maybe we should have a motion as to whether or not we're going to release the legal opinion so that everyone can have one that's sitting in the audience.
Actually, there are some.
It's already out there?
There are some already out there.
I mean, but normally these are confidential.
Then.
I think we ought to at least put on the record that.
Okay, well, do you want to make the motion?
I move that the legal opinion rendered November 20th, 2008 be considered a public document.
Second.
Second by Mr. Beckett. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Further discussion? Mr. Betts?
Then I would ask, as people are discussing this, because the issue was raised regarding dismissal and performance of an employee, that people should discuss the substance of the opinion, not the merits or demerits of the employee. And I would ask that the chair exercise tight control on that issue.
I will keep my hammer handy. We can still go into closed session, I mind you. There's nothing to prevent us from doing that. Mr. Langenheim?
I think the board should keep in mind that this is an opinion, and it's full of words like arguable, unclear, etc. It also is a legal document which has been dumped on our desk this evening. It's complicated. It is not a court order. We should certainly pay attention to it, but I do think that each and every member of the board should have ample time to consider the implications of it and to seek advice, and therefore I move that we defer consideration of this matter until the December meeting.
Second by Mr. Beckett. Discussion? Ms. Ammons?
I absolutely concur with Mr. Langenheim. I have perused it, but have not had a chance to read the last page before our meeting started, before that opportunity was given. And I have a question of process that has taken place here tonight. As was, if it is appropriate to have even this information, because it does still talk about an employee, so to speak. I am questioning even that terminology. If by contract of MPA, when the administrator quit, how does that qualify in this language that has been presented tonight? So I think in order for us to have a real discussion on this matter, those of us who have not had an opportunity to work with this document prior to this meeting, it certainly calls for deferment.
Further discussion, Mr. McGinty?
I concur with Carol on that. The question is whether we have any control over someone who is no longer our employee, and whether that person is indeed an employee or not. I think that cuts through most of what would cause us to be forced to make a decision on this. And I don't think that we're there at this point. We need a legal opinion. This is a good. I concur with the legal opinion that was provided by Mr. DeThorne. But I think that for the board to feel comfortable, I think it's a good idea to defer.
Additional discussion? Mr. Richards?
Before we put this off till next month, I was wondering if council could tell us what the state's attorney thinks we can do to employ a qualified healthcare executive acceptable to the Champaign County Board, et cetera, if we don't vote on it.
I think if you turn to page 4, Mr. Richards, of the opinion, there are some suggestions that Mr. DeThorne has made in that opinion as to what your options are based on the discussion he has had of the contractual language. And again, I think the reason that folks here are saying that you wish to defer that to your December meeting is to consider what those options might be.
Mr. Knott?
I guess I want to comment a little bit on the more general nature of maybe why it's even here tonight. And I guess I was encouraged by Mr. Scavato's report of how far we've come in a short time, but also recognize how far we need to go. And I would actually concur with the delay of this, but, I guess my thought is, I feel that there's perhaps some of the board members, don't like MPA, the fact that we hired them. And I think, this is an attempt to undermine that. I also truthfully think we need to give this time to work. There's not a one of the 27 of us is qualified to run that nursing home. Let's just be honest. None of us have the skill set to go out and run that nursing home. We've tried to put some things in place that I think have greatly improved it, thanks to the leadership of Jan and Al and the rest of the board. But let's be honest, we do not have the skill set to run that nursing home on a day-to-day basis. That's why we've hired an administrator. That's why we hired MPA to be to help us lend some expertise. I mean, let's just face the facts. We've just shown we don't have that skill set. The healthcare field is very complex, and I think if we have the intention of keeping it a public nursing home, which is my intention, we need to let some of these things work through. If things in 3 and 4 months, if we see a drastic drop, yeah, I think we probably need to take some action, but we've not given us enough time to even work, And part of what I felt over the last year or two is there's so many voices out there telling the administrator at the nursing home and others what to do. It's confusing, and I think that's why we added the nursing home board to try to give it a voice. And I think Al and Jan have done that, and I think they've done a good job. But I just personally, I think that's what part of this is, but I think we need to give it time to work.
Mr. Kurtz.
I have a question. MPA works for us.
Correct.
Can't we direct through a vote? If MPA works for us, can't we direct them to make changes in personnel if they work for us?
I don't think we can. Ms. McGrath, you want to answer that question?
And I agree with your opinion, Mr. Chair. I think the whole gist of this opinion, Mr. Kurtz, is to tell you exactly what you can and cannot do as a result of your agreement with MPA. And I believe that the reason that members here are asking for further discussion and time to think about this opinion is to carefully read that language as to what this contract actually means and what authority you all have to act in particular things that may come up as a result of that contract.
Langenheim.
The whole thing is before us because there's adoption of resolution number 6816 approving the appointment. The opinion tells us that I've already made up our mind with regard to that when we signed the contract with the agency that's operating the nursing home for us. Those are questionable things. That's what we're trying to settle. And I'm sure that there are a number of board members who would not have approved the continuation of Mr. Buffenbarger as director. There are some who don't care. There are some who probably support him. But there are very strongly felt opinions, pro and con on that, and that is the issue. Are we entitled to vote on this? And then after, if we're entitled to vote on it, what are we going to vote on it? But right now, we're talking about whether or not this opinion forecloses our right to consider the matter. And I do not consider that it does, but I would like to know more about it. I really object to the notion that something like this should be dumped on me at the beginning of a meeting for the first time, and that I should be called upon to exercise mature, conscious, responsible judgment on it with that background. It just isn't reasonable.
I'll remind you that your motion to defer is still on the floor.
What?
Your motion to defer is still on the floor.
That's right. I'm speaking in support of the motion to defer. I'm not speaking as to what should be done about it. I'm just saying that we should have a chance to think about it, and we should not be left with the feeling that we're beginning the bum's rush on this to get us to avoid this issue.
Ms. Ames, I'm reminding you the motion is to defer.
Yes, sir. I just went back to Mrs.
Microphone a little closer.
Sorry, Mrs. McGrath's reference to page 4 of this document, listing various egregious acts that would require such a review. Without going into great details, I would recommend that as the board members review this, I am one who voted no for MPA, but I am certainly in support of them if they have the ability to save this nursing home to do so. But I do not believe that that support for MPA strangles me into accepting an administrator by the account of Mr. Scavato's own words just a few minutes ago, that the nursing home under an administrator was losing six figures for many, many, many months. Thank you. And so my question to this logic is, many nursing homes are run in this state without a agency like Mr. Scavato's. And many of them are single administrator nursing homes. And they are not experiencing some of the difficulties that this board was not aware of, i.e. the changing of the rooms to single occupancy only came up when I joined this board. None of the justice members knew. So I believe that there is a cause to determine whether this is a legal opinion that should be accepted.
Mr. James.
Well, simple country boy that I am, I'm just saying it's a contract with MBA.
Remember, the motion is on whether to defer.
Yeah, right. But what I'm looking at, I'm hearing all this discussion about the administrator, and I'm thinking, isn't our beef with the overall contract, not just one person within that contract? That's my thought. I just don't understand why we're singling out somebody. We have a contract, and they're doing it.
Further discussion. I'd like to recognize Mr. Gladney first.
If this motion to defer to next month's board meeting to December passes, does that guarantee that it will come back on the agenda for next month?
Sure.
Okay.
As a motion to defer, Mr. Gladney, just means you're taking it off the table for this month and putting it to another meeting.
I understand. I just wanted open confirmation that would occur.
Yes, sir.
It'll be on the agenda next month. Ms. Putnam?
On the status of the memo, is this to be confidential among the
No, it's
20?
not
You all released
confidential. No,
it.
it's released.
Okay, so
You took a motion to release
okay,
it.
but
It's Mr. Benzel?
I thought we had called the question.
Well, I didn't recognize it yet. Ms. Amons, one more comment?
To respond to Mr. James quickly, that the only reason this is discussed, and there are other areas maybe the contract should have been looked at, but that's because he put it on this agenda.
Oh, I
So
see.
that's why we're talking about the administrator, because the chair decided.
I was still thinking about Jenny.
Okay, Mr. McGinty. Mr. McGinty? Is there a second to call the question? Second, Ms. Amons. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
No.
This is just calling the question.
That's called the question.
Call the question, that's right. So,
Excuse me. Nice going, Johnny.
there are more than, okay, we'll go roll call, please. Motion to defer. Correct.
Beckett.
Yes.
Benzel.
No.
Betts.
No.
Cowart.
Yes.
Denitz.
No.
Gladney.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Hunt.
No.
James.
No.
Jay.
No.
Jones.
No.
Knott. Kurtz.
No.
Langenheim.
Yes.
McGinty.
Yes.
Mosier.
No.
Nudo.
No.
O'Connor.
No.
Putnam.
Yes.
Richards.
No.
Sapp.
No.
Schrader.
No.
Wysocki.
Yes.
Ammons.
Yes.
Anderson.
No.
Weibel.
Yes. Failed. Motion failed.
Let's have it.
What are we considering now?
Motion. That's on
Well,
the agenda.
there's no motion on, we can go into closed session.
I move that we enter into closed session pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2 para C17 to discuss the recruitment, credentialing, discipline, or formal peer review of a healthcare professional for an institution providing medical care, the Champaign County Nursing Home that is operated by Champaign County. I further move that the following individuals remain present: Mike Scavato and the county's legal counsel and county administrator. So moved.
Second.
Second by Ms. Amons. Roll call.
Beckett.
No.
Benzel. No. Betts.
Yes.
Cowart. Dennett.
No.
Gladney. Gross.
Yes.
Hunt.
No.
James.
No.
Jay.
No.
Jones. Not.
Yes.
Kurtz.
Yes.
Langenheim. McGinty.
No.
Mosier.
No.
Nudo.
Yes.
O'Connor.
No.
Putman.
Yes.
Richards.
No.
Sapp.
No.
Schrader.
No.
Wysocki.
Yes.
Ammons.
No.
Anderson.
Yes.
Weibel.
Yes.
I think it's too bad because there's a lot of things you can share with us.
No. Motion fails.
Motion failed. We're not going to close session. Therefore, I think we should move on to the next item on the agenda, which would be, we can't act on item C, I don't think. We'll move on to item A, Nursing Home Board of Directors.
Hi.
Jan Anderson.
I move that we enter into closed session pursuant to 5 ILCS 120-2 C2 to consider salary schedules for one or more classes of employees. I further move that the following individuals remain present: the recording secretary, Mike Scavato from MPA, the county administrators, and the county's legal counsel.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. James. Roll call.
Beckett.
Yes.
Benzel.
Yes.
Betts.
Yes.
Cowart. Dennett.
Yep.
Gladney. Gross. Hunt.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Jay.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Not. Kurtz.
Yes.
Langenheim.
No.
McGinty.
Yes.
Mosier. Nudo.
Yes.
O'Connor.
No.
Putman. Richards.
Yes.
Sapp. Schrader.
Yes.
Wysocki.
Yes.
Ammons. Anderson.
Yes.
And Weibel.
Yes. Motion carries. So I'll take a quick 5-minute break so that the Republicans can sneak out.
Hasn't.
Well, okay,
The
well,
deferral was defeated.
No.
wait.
Mr. Weibel, you ruled that there could be no action taken on
There's
that.
no action taken. No action taken, because that's right. What I will do is I'll bring this up with legal counsel, see if there's some way of dealing with this. Moving on to the last item, or two more items. Mr. Beckett.
I move adoption of resolution number 6821, amending agreement designated Diamond Brothers as a broker of record for Champaign County, and I so move.
Second by Mr. Benzo. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I note that, Mr. James. Item E, there's an invoice regarding the Champaign County Nursing Home, the billings of Mr. Phoebus and Custer. This is for your information only. If you have any problems with any of these billings, Ms. Reitz is here to explain them. She has reviewed them carefully, and she believes that they're ready to be paid. Correct, Ms. Reitz? Any comment on that? Ms. Reitz, do you want to say anything about this, the billing? Are you, have you reviewed them carefully?
These are the bills through the mediation that happened back in May of '07. So this is not the total bill that's outstanding at this point, but it is the bill up through May of '07. And we felt it was appropriate to pay that bill at this point, and leave the remaining outstanding, which Mr. Phoebus is perfectly comfortable with.
Mr. J.
I thought that when we were talking about this bill with Mr. Phoebus, that he had agreed that he wasn't going to bill us till he was had collected, and that we wouldn't have to worry about these incremental payments.
He had said that he was hoping that he would be able to have accomplished something financially for us before we paid him. However, I think it's only fair that we pay him something at this point, given how long this has gone on and the stage that we're in at this point. He's done the work. We owe him the money.
That's not what he said.
Well, that wasn't part of any agreement we had with him. Actually, our contract with him says that he's to bill us monthly and we're to pay him. And we haven't paid him anything.
He was standing at that microphone when he told us that.
I understand. As I said, he said that
I would confirm what you said, Mr. J. You are correct.
And he's not saying to us, I won't do any more work for you unless you pay us. That's not his position at all. But he does have partners in a business to run, and we owe him the money.
Ms. Amons.
Just to clarify, we are not taking action on this. This is provided for information only.
Correct.
Is that correct?
That's correct. Very well. Further questions? I see Mr. Gladden is yawning, so I think it's time to adjourn. Talk to Mr. Sheldon about that.